When we talk about what is the best unusual in TF2, people usually think about the Team Captain, the Killer Exclusive, the Chrome's Dome, or some other with a high tier effect, like Burning Flames. Don't get me wrong, those are amazing hats to have, but in my opinion, the best unusual in the game is a much more humble hat, the World Traveler's hat. For those of you who didn't know this, the World Traveler's hat is an item you receive as a reward after purchasing any map stamp from the in-game store. It is an untradeable hat and it leaves a trail of stamps when the player is on a map for which they bought map stamps. This hat was added in 2010 on the Australian Christmas update, as a way for players to directly reward community map makers. Nowadays, map creators get paid a fraction of event key sales, but every time someone buys a map stamp, the whole value of the purchase, minus taxes, is awarded by Valve to the map creator. I find the World Traveler's hat the best unusual in the game exactly for this reason. Whatever you spend on it, buying map stamps, isn't lost or speculated value. It's granted directly to those who work creating maps for TF2. And I think the last Xmas showed us very well how much difference new maps make in regards to the game's popularity. Without considering the addition of new weapons that are way more complicated to implement, I think that new maps are what really freshen up the game, bringing old players back and keeping the current player base interested. Any feature we can have to further reward map creators is welcome, and that's why I love the World Traveler's hat so much. However, there's a problem in all of this. If you stop to think about it, what you, as a consumer, get for buying map stamps isn't very much if you compare it to other unusuals in the market. Putting the goodwill to reward map creators aside, why would someone purchase map stamps to get an untradeable unusual with a dull effect when they could invest in a tradable unusual with a much more interesting particle effect? As it is now, the World Traveler's hat practically has no upside when compared to all other unusuals, and that's why I'd like to share my ideas on what Valve could do to improve this hat and, consequently, generate more income to map creators. The first and most obvious suggestion would be to change the particle effect. The trail of stamps is nice, but it's not very visible and can even show the enemy team where you've been, negatively impacting your game. I know spy mains who absolutely rejected this hat simply because of that reason. It would be better if the hat had an effect more like nuts and bolts, or maybe like the confetti effects, but with the stamp sprite. The way I see it, simply changing the unusual particle effect to something more visible and interesting would already make the World Traveler's hat more attractive to everyone. It could even have a mechanic that would make the effect denser the more stamps you've bought, up to a limit of course, and that would further incentive people to buy map stamps. My second suggestion is a bit more dramatic. I think that Valve should make the World Traveler's hat usable with other hats, as is the case for the Antlers and the Polar Pullover, for example. The hat could have a secondary style in which, instead of being a bicorn, it would be something like a beanie or a simple rimless cap, or even hide the model altogether to better match with other hats. One effect of that would be players using the World Traveler's hat with other unusuals, as if it were an unusual misc, and I imagine that would greatly increase people's interest on it. I myself, even though I really love this hat, feel discouraged to use it, because I own other hats that are way nicer. If I could use them both together, I'd certainly buy more map stamps when I had the opportunity. And I imagine this change would benefit everyone, especially considering how inflated are the prices for unusual miscs nowadays. If, alongside this, its particle effect was improved, as I mentioned earlier, the World Traveler's Hat would be able to realize its full potential. Map creators would receive more revenue, and players would be properly rewarded with a nice unusual. And what's your opinion on this? Would you like to see the World Traveler's Hat reworked like this? Do you have any other interesting suggestions to make? Or do you think this is all unnecessary? I'm interested on hearing from you. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss my future uploads. See you next time and bye bye!